Rupert Murdoch and his son James and the chief executive of News International, Rebecca Brooks, will all now give evidence to a committee of MPs next Tuesday. You can listen in on 5 Live, don't miss it, about the News of the World phone hacking scandal. This is Rebecca Brooks and the former News of the World editor, Andy Coulson, giving evidence before the original Culture Committee in 2009.
We have paid the police for information in the past, and it's been...
And will you do it in the future?
It depends
we operate within the code and within the law, and if there's a clear public interest, then the same holds for private detectives, for subterfuge, for video bags, whatever you want to talk about.
It's illegal for police officers to receive payments?
No, we don't. As I said, within the law.
Well, the FBI is now investigating as well claims that mobile phones of the 9/11 victims were hacked into by people working for News Corporation, the parent company of News International. You might have heard a slight noise there from our guest, Geoffrey Robertson QC, media lawyer. I would describe it as a minor guffaw.
I think it was a bit of a snigger, quite frankly. I mean, there you have the ineptness and incompetence of politicians on select committees on display. Back in 2003, Rebecca Brooks confessed to payments to police.
Within the law, they said.
Well, no, Coulson then said, within the law. There is no way you can pay off a policeman for information within the law. It is always bribery. It is always contrary to the corruption.
You're never allowed to pay a policeman for anything.
Absolutely never. That is a strict rule. It's been a rule for centuries, and it is incredible that Rebecca Brooks and Mr. Coulson didn't know it. It is even more incredible that, having made that confession, this useless committee did nothing about it. That was back in 2003. The hacking scandal would never perhaps have occurred.
What about this committee on Tuesday?
Been taken seriously.
Do you think, Geoffrey, they've got more teeth? Will they be more intelligent and clued up?
Well, I think it's very interesting. I mean, this is how being billed as Rupert coming and bowing before Parliament, having had so many politicians bow and scrape to him over the years. But I think it will be a bit of a bear-baiting exercise, and I think he'll come out on top. I think he will use this because they can't ask him questions. He'll have a whole row of lawyers sitting behind him. He's under investigation by the FBI. He should be under investigation by Operation Wheating, but they're pretty hopeless, and they haven't even taken him in to interview him. So he will be able to say to any question, to any difficult question, I can't answer that because of the police inquiry.
Okay,
and he'll be able to...
Is that how you would advise him as his QC, as his lawyer?
I think he would be properly advised that he shouldn't answer questions that go to the real issue, which is who was it? Either was it him or was it a senior executive who approved those payments to the police? Because any organisation has checks, and who authorised the payment of $130,000 to...
So that would be your question if you were on this committee.
Well, that's the big question.
What would he say to that?
That is the question that he would be able to say. There's a police inquiry underway, and I'm entitled not to answer that question. The other question that's important is who's looking after Glenn Mulcair, because there have been reports that News Limited have been paying Mr. Mulcair or paying for his legal advice, and so I think that's a question that might be asked. What
is a question that, if you were on the committee, that you think would get underneath this get-out clause?
Well, there are, one's got to be fair, and I think the public would expect that a man who is being investigated by the FBI, who should be investigated by the police, should be entitled to a right to silence over those issues that he's going to have to, or may have to, answer for in criminal terms. I think, though, that he will use this as a great opportunity. You've got to understand that Rupert Murdoch is at heart an Australian and will be very mindful of a famous incident in Australian history about 15 years ago, when Kerry Packer, his fellow media mogul, was under the same sort of attack, in this case for tax evasion, and he was summoned to a select committee, and he used the opportunity to appeal to the public. He wiped the floor with the committee. They seemed to be like very second-rate people asking questions of a great man, and he actually won the day. And I think Rupert will be watching that tape and taking his cue from the way Kerry Packer
How does he win the day,
overwhelmed.
Jeffrey? How does he win the day?
He appealed to the public, and it's a very curious arrangement because these MPs are not first-rate MPs, otherwise they wouldn't be on the committee. They've got a couple of minutes. They don't have an opportunity to develop cross-examination. When we get to the judicial inquiry, you'll have a counsel assisting the inquiry with lots of information. He'll be able to go for hours, if not days, or she will be able to. So I think that it's in this case you've got a number of politicians all with a couple of minutes for soundbite questions, but the committee can't develop a coherent kind of cross-examination. And you've got to remember David Kelly committed suicide after an appearance at one of these committees. So it's a difficult and delicate exercise, and Rupert Murdoch may well be able to get across his message that he is a serious newspaper man. He's contributed a lot in terms of saving the British media at various times and British newspapers, and of course his record for invading privacy, which is the real ethical issue. What he has to be held to account for is the way privacy has been invaded and that is the area I think that the public will be most interested to learn.
It should be very interesting to listen to. Geoffrey, thank you very much. I wish I could speak more and longer on this, but we have to move on. Geoffrey Robertson, QC media lawyer. Tuesday, don't miss it.